There must be some mistake. I can get you more credits.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
I want to start off by saying that I did not want to sign up for Disney Plus at all. I feel like there's so many streaming services out there that we're getting back to the price points of when everybody just had basic cable. But when they announced exclusive Marvel TV shows and exclusive Star Wars TV shows, I had to. And as of this very moment, I don't regret it. The Mandalorian doesn't suck. It's actually really good, and this review is going to have some slight story spoilers. I'll keep some of the major ones out of there. This is the first time in a long time I've been really excited over something Disney Star Wars. The last time I think was probably Rogue One. And The Mandalorian has a similar feeling. There's no classic characters with starring roles. It's a much smaller scale story that just happens to take place in the Star Wars universe. And when you go in there and you start creating brand new characters in the series, you do run a risk of creating boring new characters that has happened multiple times, or knockoff versions of characters that already exist. And with The Mandalorian, this was a pretty big risk, because the main character, the Mandalorian, is very clearly modeled after Boba Fett. I love Boba Fett, and I would have loved to see a series starring him, but it makes sense why they chose to go with a new character that taps into the Boba Fett nostalgia. It gives the story more room to breathe and do whatever they want, since he's an original creation. And if you don't know what a Mandalorian is, they're one of my favorite races in Star Wars, so let's get into some basic lore. I won't go too deep, just a general idea. Mandalorians are a warrior race from the planet Mandalore and its moon Concordia. They're essentially the badasses of the galaxy, and they have a reputation of being extremely deadly. Clan bloodlines are essential to their culture. Even their armor is treated with an immense sense of respect and reverence. The clone troopers from the prequels were based off Mandalorian DNA, and their armor was even inspired by their culture. Many Mandalorians decide to take their skills and become bounty hunters, mercenaries that are paid to capture or kill targets. And this is the main theme of the show. The as of now unnamed main character is simply known as the Mandalorian, and he's part of a bounty hunters guild that shares jobs amongst themselves, which Carl Weathers seems to be one of the higher ups of. It's always a pleasure seeing Carl Weathers in a role, and now he's a Star Wars character.
These are Imperial credits.
They still spend.
I don't know if you heard, but the Empire is gone.
It's all I've got. Save the theatrics.
The Mandalorian represents Star Wars side stories at their best. It doesn't rely on the stories told in the past to tell its own, and it deals with the dark criminal underbelly that the now cancelled Star Wars 1313 game would have tackled. Humor done well is an extremely important aspect, and that's one thing that Disney Star Wars really needed to work on. I hate to bring up The Last Jedi so much, but the humor that was in that movie was really cringeworthy. It was something that would belong in a Marvel movie, but in a Star Wars movie felt completely out of place. However, in The Mandalorian, the humor actually enhances the viewing experience, and it actually got a good amount of chuckles out of me. Like at the beginning of the episode, the Mandalorian goes into a bar, and he saves the life of some alien. So the alien is just over the top happy, thanking him for saving his life, and then you slowly see his face morph as he realizes that he's the target, and that's why he saved him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have my heartfelt gratitude. Hey, you know what? Here. You take my credits. Buy yourself a drink. Is that a bounty puck? Is that me?
Watching the alien almost beg not to be taken, and the Mandalorian sitting there silently with an emotionless helmet on, it was hilarious. I want to see more of that kind of humor in the show. And when he's captured, he tries to find a way out by pretending he's got to use the bathroom. I think this is the first time in Star Wars on-screen history that we've seen a space toilet.
I think I have to use the vac tube. I mean, I can do it here, but if you've never seen a fledgling Mythrol evacuate your thorax, you're a lucky guy, trust me. Found it! Thanks! It might take a while. I'm molting.
The production value on the show is stellar. It doesn't even feel like a show. Chapter 1 was 40 minutes long, and if it weren't for the length, it rivals the quality level of a theatrical movie. And the storyline as of now seems like it's being taken with just as much care. I always found the in-between periods interesting in the Star Wars universe, those time periods between the movies that we typically don't see on screen, and this is just that. The Mandalorian takes place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So the Empire's lost, it's crumbled, but there is still small remnants scattered around the galaxy that have survived. One of the people he meets during the first episode is a client that appears to be some kind of Imperial warlord, in hiding with a group of stormtroopers protecting him. I thought this was a cool idea because it reminded me of actual history, how after World War II some higher up Nazis fled to avoid being prosecuted for their crimes, and they hid in different parts of the world. And there's plenty of Easter eggs going back to the classic trilogy too. There's one showing the species that Salacious Crumb belongs to being cooked. If you don't remember who Salacious Crumb was, he was that little monkey lizard monster that was Jabba the Hutt's pet in Return of the Jedi. You remember Carbonite Freezing from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? Well, that's in here too, and that's how the Mandalorian collects his targets. And there isn't just references to the classic movies, they go as far as mentioning Life Day. I swear I'm not making that up.
This feels a lot better. I haven't evacuated since the solstice. I was hoping to be free for Life Day.
They actually referenced the holiday introduced in the freaking Star Wars Holiday Special. I reviewed that, by the way. If you want to check out that review, go ahead and click right here after the video's over. In The Mandalorian, CG is used when it's needed, and practical effects are used when they can be. This is how it should be done. And the show also gives us various planets with their own crazy set of original aliens. Another staple of classic Star Wars. We always want to see new worlds, new aliens. We don't know much of anything about the actual Mandalorian character, but we do get some quick flashbacks, so it's clear that they will be building some sort of backstory for him as the series chugs along. It appears that he had some kind of traumatic past of some kind, and we never see his face. I like that because it gives the character a Judge Dredd-like feel and keeps him mysterious for now. I kinda hope we never see his face. I think that'd be interesting.
Is it true that you guys never take off your helmets?
One of the characters I was most excited about seeing, who I assumed was IG-88, a long-time expanded universe character introduced in Empire Strikes Back. He's a bounty hunter droid. It turns out he's not in the show. This droid is actually a new one called IG-11. They didn't want to use IG-88 since he does have such deep lore already surrounding him, so I do think this was the best decision since they created an original character. It's probably the better idea to surround him with original characters as well. But I did enjoy IG-11. Near the end, he gets stuck in this enormous gun battle alongside the Mandalorian, and he thinks they're gonna lose, so he just keeps trying to blow himself up, and the Mandalorian has to keep telling him to stop.
It appears we are trapped. I will initiate self-destruct sequencing.
Do not self-destruct. They got us pinned.
I will initiate self-destruct.
Do not self-destruct. We're shooting our way out.
Beginning self-destruct countdown.
No, stop.
The best way to describe this show is Dog the Bounty Hunter plus a space western. The Mandalorian comes off as a lone expert gunman bringing in the bounties, and Chapter 1 does a great job introducing us to his world, his corner of the Star Wars universe. And the end of the episode also gives us our first deeper insight into what kind of character he truly is under the helmet. Is he a good person with a heart that does the right thing at the end of the day regardless of the job, or is he truly in it just for the money? Without going into a major spoiler, the ending really makes you ask those questions, and I'm pumped to see what answers future episodes give us. If you're a Star Wars fan, this show is a must-watch. I actually prefer this method of storytelling over pumping out yearly movies. So with this, I think Disney is on the right track with Star Wars. And one of the reasons Episode 1 was so good is because it was directed by Dave Filoni. This guy is one of the reasons the Clone Wars series was so outstanding. So it's not surprising that Episode 1 was great. Chapter 2 of The Mandalorian airs by the end of this week. So if you like this video, make sure you leave me a like. I plan to review every episode as it comes out, through the end of the series. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your thoughts on the Mandalorian series? And are you as excited as I am about the Obi-Wan series? That's the most anticipated thing on Disney Plus in my mind right now. That's all I have for you today. I will catch you guys later. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.